I posted a failed world, asking if people wanted 100 days of it. Surprisingly, people did. I decided on 3 main goals and 2 side quests. Get a diamond destructor hammer, build diamond netherite armor and sword, find all structures, make ratatouille, and get an elytra. Sound easy? Think again. If I can't complete everything, I have to fight the Wither and the Warden. I logged it back into the world and checked the day. Starting on day 31, I'm already at disadvantage, but I do have some decent tools and a setup for my first 30 days. First thing, I got my bow enchanted and thankfully got a lucky draw. Then I upgraded my power and am breaking as much as possible. Next, I need food. I need my ratatouille. But I gotta travel far for that, so an elytra comes first. I headed to the stronghold, no sleeping. I'll become an insomniac if that's what it takes to get this done in time. Passing through abandoned colonies and a surprising amount of villages, I made 1,000 blocks of ground by sunrise, arriving at the mountains. I misread the chords several times before heading, nope, this way. Is it seriously under a mountain? Nope. Lucky for me. When I entered, I tried to use the map to find the portal room, expecting to see the obvious lava. I saw none and moved on. I looted through the place, finding this beauty along the way. I still couldn't find the portal room after looting, and I kept getting lost in the randomized halls. Eventually, I consulted my map again. I still didn't see lava, but I did notice an obvious large room. It was the portal room, right next to the entrance. Through a staircase I walked past several times. My luck is only good for comedic timing. With a whopping 3 eyes, I wasn't going to the end anytime soon. Leaving for the nether, I ran around gathering pearls until I saw a structure. This place was crawling with brutes and sprawled out far. I assumed the worst and invested in an ender chest backpack before exploring, and I'm so happy I did. This structure, a black spiral, while terrifying, is amazing. This is what I want to see in vanilla. These generate a random amount of towers with tons of floors and crumbling bridges. Each floor is spawners and or chests, and because you have to slowly mine through each floor, no stairs or ladders, the lower floors fill with enemies. This proved to be a damn good challenge. If it weren't for the non-vanilla gear I had or the netherite armor, I'd be dead. Loot is such a good reward as well. These spirals are far too fun, and without OP equipment, is well balanced. Yes, it hands out debris like candy and netherite like king-size bars, but it also tricks you with dozens of blazes and half as many brutes. Not to mention the hoglin spawners. Point in case, these might trivialize any future mod packs I make, but damn will I have fun the entire time. After angering the local population some more, I left the nether for the first time in days. Coming home to a pale sunrise. Maybe I don't need all this. Why do I take when the world gives this for free? Nah, I like money. I misunderstood the netherite tiers, thinking it took far more and only made iron netherite. When I put back on my armor, I noticed how beat up it had gotten, and I knew I needed mending as soon as possible. Thinking of villagers, I shared of a hole that I could turn into a trading hall. It wasn't long before I went off the rails and spent several days turning this hole into a home. I didn't want a base, but I'll give it a pass because it didn't take long and looks decent for the rabbit hole it is. Villagers are typically annoying, but thanks to mods, I handled them pretty quickly. But the barrels were a problem. I placed their work blocks in hope. Eventually, it worked even if my librarian was protesting. Even though I had the Fletchers locked in, my librarian was still taking their time, and I needed more emeralds. Usually, people use large spruce trees or jungle trees for their sticks. I don't have that! The only way for me to get big trees with my mods is a Gigas potion. Between attempting trades, I collected everything for a potion. Despite using this tree mod a lot, I've never used this potion before and wasn't sure how it worked. I finally got it to work, and nothing happened. No, bone meal doesn't work either. I left the trees alone, and for the entire 100 days, not a damn thing happened. I finally locked in my mending, but I still don't have enough emeralds. I do almost have enough diamonds for my hammer. Instead of mining, I went out exploring. I went through my list and chose a mausoleum, thinking it'd be interesting. It wasn't. What was I doing? Right. Getting an elytra. That's enough. I got ready to enter the end, only to realize I don't have any waystones. These things cut serious travel time. If I wanted easy access to the end, I was gonna need more. I traveled across the ocean, exploring new chunks as I searched for waystones and got food. Along the way, I found this zombie dungeon, but knowing how difficult they can be, decided to come back later. Get grounded. I may be short on time, but I don't leave creeper holes. And I saw the heavens pulling the ground to the sky. Without a single waystone for miles, I sacrificed some materials to craft one, placing it next to the dungeon. After making some food, I began exploring. These twisting catacombs are full of zombie spawners and occasional skeletons. For me, this is an average dungeon. While most of the loot isn't worth the hundreds of zombies that are sure to spawn as you slowly mow down the mob, it does only take one water bucket to stay safe. I finally got mending on my boots, but needed more XP to enchant the rest of my armor. While mining quartz for XP and upgrading materials, I realized how dumb I've been about the netherite tiers. After enchanting, I burned from gold netherite to emerald netherite, saved my sword, I spent a few days ransacking more spirals, getting enough loot to make diamond netherite armor, completing my first goal. But I still needed more diamonds for my hammer, so I made a mine shaft below my base, coming across this cave along the way. Skeletons need to stop tickling me. I roamed the nether for more loot. I found many black spirals, another nether fortress, and a very useless crimson tree. By this point I had plenty of netherite, enough so that I made myself a diamond netherite pickaxe and axe. With a couple more redstone blocks, I finally achieved my hammer, fully enchanting it soon after. The only note I have for this day is leveled enchantments. I am God. I gathered some backup pearls and entered the end. I struggled with some pillars, sure myself that I could make the shot from across the island, but eventually the dragon perched, and I killed it soon after. Immediately after, I went looking for an elytra, but not trusting my compass, I typed my coords into a website. The rest of my footage for that day is stuck on one of my stream screens. You see, months ago, I remade several scenes, and several weeks ago, I redid the keybinds. However, I made the keybinds only my numpad numbers and nothing more. After finding this out, I told myself, for the sake of content, I'm gonna trash anything I did during the 2.5 hours of footage. I had no idea what I'd lose, having recorded a lot that day. I logged on to day 67, and after checking my notes, I burned my elytra, sugarcane, rockets, and ratatouille seeds. Also, I have to re-find 5 structures. The previous ones don't count. I headed straight back into the end, running far and anxiously bridging across the void for my precious elytra. My notes have, and I quote, day 69, elytra get yippee, and the next day, day 70, sugarcane got yippee. My notes seriously degraded since the beginning of this challenge. With my crops in mind, I expanded my base and 2 side rooms for my sugarcane, and for decoration made an enchanting pit and moved my tool leveling table to its own area, complete with bookshelves and an attempt at a telescope. I even spruced up my entrance. Welcome to the bunker. Back on track, I focused on getting seeds for my ratatouille, collecting 4 more structures, plus adding depth strider to my boots along the way. I also got pissed at some garlic for not being onion, and outpaced a child until sunrise. I got the last seed needed when I pulled my compass out, noticing it wasn't working right. I left the compass looking for a jungle giant tree from Awesome Dungeon, and it was telling me it wasn't found for 10,000 blocks around me. Problem is, here's one in front of me. Not found my ass. Turns out, I can't find any of the Awesome Dungeon structures with this compass. Keep in mind, that tree doesn't count, it was found off camera. I continued to explore the area, hoping for a better default jungle temple, and instead came across an abandoned colony that refused to load and a desert temple husk. Returning home, I planted my crops and after some bone meal, made a hefty amount of ratatouille. From here on, I focused on getting structures. I left again, going back to the desert and collecting all the structures nearby. Also, I seriously love this desert pyramid mod. Any of Young's stuff will always be amazing, even if I can't understand this puzzle. The Badlands pyramid was pretty cool, and I was surprised that Brigantine was a ship. Granted, I know nothing of ships, so maybe this was obvious? I thought it was gonna be a fortress of some sort. The last 20 or so days, I traveled far and wide, going through my list. I started with the end structures, getting Bad Omen from 1, and starting right at spawn. What's with the water particle? Oh. They're nervous. I love iron golems. With the end finish, I went after ocean structures. Ouch. Also, look at my little buddy. I also forgot to dye my elytra. How dare I? Thank you for the leather, kind sir. Boarding airline Mew, I prepared to glide 10,000 fucking blocks to my next target, only to get promptly distracted by another structure. This is a spider dungeon. Personally, I hate them. Aesthetically and logically, it's a perfect dungeon. It reminds me of an underground hornet nest. For game purposes, I hate it, and unless I'm well geared, I avoid it. The danger of the cave spiders isn't worth the reward, but for the sake of the goal, I need to clear it. If you find these, cheese them with water or mine around it. I continue my 10-hour flight, only distracted by Phantom's a pig? With the ship acquired, the next few on my list were in the nether. I'm way too proud of this hop. Who will win? One buff big man, or a couple of blocks? Guess that's it for this one. Please explain how this is the Obsy house and the other one is the palace. Are they mixed up? This was one of the 2 times in the entire run I almost died. I ran around like an idiot for a while, chugging the gap along the way, before I used their pathfinding against them. Now their structure's done, I moved back to the overworld, gaining the rest of the ocean structures. Oh, that one. There's nothing to do. At this point, day 88, I was left with 6 structures to find, all from Awesome Dungeon. While searching for a moment, I thought I found a loophole. If the better default jungle temple replaces the normal temples, I could simply search for a normal temple and find the dungeon. Reasoning being, I'm able to search for the vanilla stronghold even though the modded one replaces it. I was wrong. My computer hated me doing this, screaming at me for loading thousands of chunks. So please, if you've made it this far, interact with the video, yeah? Comment something, subscribe, or if those are too hard, hit the like button. Thanks. In those final days, I found some random stuff, so quick shooting through it. Pink sheep. Surprisingly, another jungle giant tree, floating mountain, 2 more abandoned mushrooms, finally the abandoned oak palace. Let's fucking go! What is this mountain? Seriously. Another fucking mushroom, I'm getting tired of them. Accidentally found all the swamp seeds, fucked around and found out, and after days and days, the swamp temple big. I'm God. By day 97, I gave up on the last 4 structures, moving focus to getting the last wither skeleton skull needed for my final battle. I stole the last skull off the wall of the Opsy house, then prepared to fight. I found the ancient city, dropping on top of the center shrine. I focused on a shrieker to piss off until the warden spawned, preparing the wither as I did. Eventually, the warden crawled in the ring, and I placed the last skull, planning on letting the 2 of them battle it out while I focused on the warden. Turns out that's a horrible idea, because the warden started attacking me. I ran around like a headless chicken, chugging gaps and golden apples, until I thought to run into a building to lose it, gliding away. Finally, the blindness subsided, and I got one final shot. With the warden gone, the wither turned to me, and we battled it out until it fell. Hey, diamonds! I collected my enemy's remains and returned home, displaying my prizes, and a disc I found next to my bed. It's weird how quaint the world was, with everything done. I'd become a greedy man, and all that's left for a greedy man is to build his kingdom. But, for now, thank you all for joining me. I'll see you on the next 100. I'm gonna finally sleep.